join us. Scholar being that acknowledgement of your understanding the art sufficiently that you can free play with your companions, and free scholar being our first teaching rank. A free scholar, once confirmed by the Academy, is free to establish their own school and teach to the rank of scholar. And that's why it's called a free scholar, because that person is now free to leave the South and establish their own school. Today, we've got, I understand, a candidate that wishes to test. Murph, do you have a candidate that wishes to test?
Yeah, Bill Berkman.
Bill. So Bill, give us just a brief rundown of how long you've been studying Armataga.
Is it in there? I can't.
So I began my first approach Dave in January of 2005, and I found Anna through the internet, and I wanted to. I was into Asian martial arts before, but I was keen to get into martial arts from Western because I'd never known that that was even an option other than boxing or Olympic wrestling. Dave told me to wait until the fall because that's when he took in new students. So I started with the Emma Toronto program at the ROM, the Army Sword program, for weeks, and then when that was done, I started the fall of September of 2005 with Dave. I did my scholar test in May of 2007 after 2 years, and this would make it my 6th year with Guelph. And I'd like to, I drive from Stratford, which is about an hour's drive away from Guelph, and I'd really like to get a group going in Stratford, so that's why I'm here to do the free scholar test.
We'd like that too. All right. So obviously we find you an acceptable candidate for the test. You've helped Free Scholar Murphy substantially over the last few years in running of the Guelph chapter, and become a very important part of that whole organization, and obviously a very important part of our entire organization. And I wish you luck today in the completion of your test. So we'll get started.
All right. And Bill has brought Mr. McGorry from Guelph as well. That's Mark and Bill.
Okay. So the requirement of the free scholar is to be able to teach Armataga. So the expectation that we have today from you is that you will demonstrate Armataga start to finish, all aspects, every piece of the art, except for mounted combat. Okay? Pressure of horses, no.
You didn't get the coconut.
No coconuts. But I practiced it. So over the course of the test, every one of the free scholars is entitled to ask any question they feel, to request you to demonstrate any particular action they want. You are also empowered to ask any question of the free scholar to clarify what they want to see. Let's hope that we can make sure that your supervisor makes it through this unbroken. Please commence.
We're going to start with wrestling, as Fiore does, which he says calls for 8 qualities: strength, speed, knowledge of the best places to strike, knowledge of advantageous grips, knowledge of how to break the opponent's arms and legs, knowledge of how to bind the opponent's arms so that he can't free himself, knowledge of how to throw the opponent to the ground without endangering yourself, and knowledge of how to dislocate the opponent's arms and legs. So we'll move on to the plays, which will demonstrate, illustrate these qualities. Fiore shows one remedy master of wrestling. He wants to grab his opponent's right arm with his left at the pole of the arm, so on the bicep. I'm also going to come with my right hand just past his left elbow, and what I'm hoping to get, what I want to get, is his elbow out to the side, not tuck down, and I can accomplish that. I could hit up into the shoulder in order to drive it up. I could push, but by the way, that elbow out to the side is what I want for the first play. case I'm going to pivot, come up, grab both my hands together, double up, and pass forward with an arm off. We'll switch around, starting from this side so that the scholars may see. So I'm going to come up, I want to drive the elbow out to the side, I don't want it down. Double up, catching his elbow in the crook of my arm. I want to be past his elbow because my goal is to hyperextend it. Pass forward, pull him down. Fury says I'll either dislocate his arm or put him face first into the ground. As another play, put a follow on. If I don't get the elbow out to the side, or if my opponent lets go of my, as I'm coming in, he decides to let go of his head, my neck, I'm going to come underneath into the throat, drop down, and grab the knee, throw my opponent to the ground. Do that a little more speed. The next play is I run into a situation where my opponent is right leg forward, the same as myself. I don't have the option to reach down and grab his right leg. So in this case, I'm going to push on the head and pull on the hip to shear him. I'm going to step in between his legs, behind his leading leg, and drive him down to the ground. One more time. We could be in wrestling. I don't have, maybe I've gone to grab this leg, and he's decided to pull it back. I take the hip instead, step in behind his leg, and throw my opponent into obstacles around the list. Other plays that we can get into from a two-handed grab around the waist. I'm going to push on the head. When I push on the head, what I'm trying to do is take his head offline with his hips. I want to break his posture so that he doesn't have as much strength to resist my actions. I'm going to step in behind, and I can have it. I'm going to step in behind his leading leg, and I can grab at the hip. Or Fiore said I would be more sure if I grabbed at the knee. Once again, throw him down to the ground. I got a similar play from a grab from behind. First thing I'd like to do is drop my weight a bit because I don't want him to hoist me into the air and throw me and push back. Lean on him so that he can't lift me. I'm going to push into his head, and if I were trying to truly hurt him, I could hit. Because I want to push his head offline with his hips as I step behind him, and I can take the knee and finish the throw. Time. Some better balance. Throw him down. I have a fireman's carry throw, if you will. It could be in a neutral wrestling situation. I'm going to try and go under his arm. I want to make sure that I don't do what I just said coming out, that I keep my posture as I go underneath. I don't want to give him my head in bad posture because now he's got all the strength, and because my posture is poor, I'm not going to be able to resist his actions as strong. So as I go in, I want to try and move his arm up and duck under, so I keep a good straight back over my hips to reach down and grab the leg. And finish the throw because there's no mats. And I might not be in good shape for the tournament afterwards. I can take that throw with either leg forward, so if you switch legs, I could come. Take the leading leg as well, or the rear leg. Other plays fall into the category of advantageous grip. We've got here it shows the full Nelson, which he says is an unusual way to grip someone, so they can't defend themselves. And the counter, he says, is to try and drive my opponent into the nearest timber or structure and smash the back of his head into it. Another one, which I want to demonstrate on Martin. We've got another play we have, the Gamarola. which Fury says is not very assured in wrestling, but he says if you want to do it, you need to do it with strength and speed. Some possible reasons why he might say that such play is not very assured is that we're both in an equal position, so either the player or the opponent could go for that. It might come down, it's more likely to come down to a situation of strength. Also, the person who raises their foot to first to go behind the leg puts himself at a disadvantage because he shifts all his weight to one leg, and the other person can just throw down from there. With some plays, grabbing on two hands on the back of the head. Maybe if I grab, Fury says I grab low, he grabs high, I'm going to come up underneath, push into the face. If he pushes into my face, I have first the elbow push, where I can come to the face, inside, line, and also Fury says I'll play against anyone who puts their hands in my face, just to come in with my thumbs and scour the eyes. I just have some defenses there. Another play. Fury shows another would fall under the category of advantageous places to strike. He puts the thumb behind the ear. Currently, he says I could press my opponent to the ground from there. Another play from advantageous places to strike. We grab around. We're in kind of a stalemated position. We both have arms wrapped around. I can knee to the groin in order to weaken my opponent for a throw. Or if he were to attempt the same thing to me, Fury says to reach down and grab the knee with his right hand. And then throw down to the ground. And let's move on. Fury also shows a couple of plays.